The question was
How old are you? How old are you?
24.
You need to hold your camera steady.
I got shaking here.
And please set it down. Okay, did you have a question?
No, your question was should women experience kids, right?
I was talking about several things, but what did you want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about? Do you think strippers will ever have a healthy relationship?
With whom?
Anybody, a man.
Uh, I don't know. Depends on the stripper.
Mm, I don't think so.
Okay. Why?
Because
Why?
all the trust issues and they're very insecure. And they feel like doing what I do, they could do what they do on the side.
Okay. How many people are strippers?
I know a few. Mostly everybody I know. All my friends.
Well, if that's the case, you have any kids?
No, I don't want no kids. I have a dog.
Would you please hold the phone steady
Oh
and set
yeah.
it down? I
Mm.
don't want to keep asking me. I think that's the least thing you can do.
You are a fine ass old man. That's all I gotta say.
Appreciate it.
You ever come to Seattle?
All the time.
Many times people complain about Kevin Samuels, but man, this guy has been lenient, or he was lenient to women. When you look at this modern woman who comes in to ask a question, he's more than lenient and willing to listen to her, even when she came in having no agenda, no idea of what Kevin Samuel was talking about. Kevin Samuel is lenient enough to allow her ask her own question. And the most surprising thing is that even after asking her own question, she's having her own version of answer she wants to listen to. She asks a question about the stripper thing. She wonders what Kevin Samuel thinks about the strippers having a home or having a man and settling down. And Kevin Samuels, of course, goes ahead and to tell her that indeed strippers do. He has seen many that have having homes, stable homes, but this one says, "Nah, I don't think so." Meaning she had her own version of answer she was expecting from Kevin Samuels, and Kevin Samuels doesn't give it to her. Come on. And she goes ahead to ask more. She goes ahead to go personal, trying to go for Kevin Samuels at some bit. And indeed, Kevin Samuels has been too lenient or has been lenient with this one again. And when she started shooting a shot, Kevin Samuels cut a shot. You can let me know what you think about this modern woman in the comment section as we go ahead to the next woman that chats with Kevin Samuels.
Strippers who are really about their business, they're upfront honest. And the guys that they're with, yeah. You Pollyanna prissy girls, the ones around doing shit you ain't got no business doing. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Kevin.
How old are you?
I love watching your show. But I did have a question.
Go ahead.
So,
First off, how old are you?
I'm 39.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, so you said that if you divorce or if you separate and you have kids, that it would go to the husband. I mean, it would go to the man. And in your past lives, you always talk about infrastructure and how the man can do things that the woman can't do, right?
Okay.
So if the kids are with the dad, where does that leave? I mean, I know that's not like, of course we want to keep the families together and the family unit, but a lot of our African American women are single and without their men. So if the kids were with the man, then where would that leave the women single, and where would that leave us? Like,
If the children went with the father,
yes, sir. Where would that leave the
what would it
man?
leave the woman?
Well, also, like, if the husband, or excuse me, if the male is taking care of the kids, where does that leave our infrastructure and our
We're gonna handle one
technology?
question at a time.
Yes,
And
sir.
you ladies often do that. You often catastrophize. You ask one question and you build on top of it. What is the
No,
question?
I've been
The
waiting.
kid has to go one place.
Yes, sir. I've been waiting to ask you this
Okay,
though.
but if the kid, okay, then work through it. If the kid has to go one place, you ask me what happens if the kid goes to the father.
Yes, sir. What happens
Okay,
to
what happens
not
to
the
whom?
kid,
What
sir,
happens
but
to whom? You have to
to the
call me. First,
world?
you have to call me sir. You call me.
Okay,
What happens to
okay.
the world? What
I'm
happens to the world?
military. I'm military
What
Forest
happens to the
Hill.
world? The world
Sorry.
becomes a better place. The world becomes a better place just like that. Why?
Yes, sir.
Why? Why? Because
Why?
men built the world.
That's what I'm saying. They're
No,
building
no,
the
listen, I
world.
need you to listen. Because men built the world. Men are builders. Men are planners. Men are not so in their emotions, so men get shit done. The first thing a father is going to do once his kids is going to make sure that there's someone to care for the child. If the father needs to go out and do A, B, and C, and he's not going to be looking to find somebody else to come in and necessarily, he's going to find a way to make it done himself. He's not going to try to bring in another woman because
Okay.
men understand. So you ask what happens to the women.
Well, no, you just answered my question. They get a nanny.
I don't say they get a nanny; they just get shit done. But what we end up doing generates more jobs,
Yep, I agree.
builds more infrastructure.
Right. So I was just asking because you always talk about men and infrastructure, and we depend on the man to do things that women aren't able to do. So that's why I was like, okay, if the women give up the children, where does that leave the man and his priority to guide and direct the world?
The same place it always has been. When you, I mean, like it or not, if you're a father and you know you got a mouse to feed every day at home, your motivation is there.
Yes, sir.
I'm on both sides of this. The immediacy of a child in the house is different than when you're a weekend dad. But
Yep.
I think the bigger question is, so the implication is, if men are taking care of the kids, that means they're not doing their primary focus of building the infrastructure in the world.
Yeah, that's what I was
But the
thinking, but
kids, but
I
the
wanted you to
children have
clarify.
always been with the men. Prior to the 50s, the children were with the fathers. When a woman divorced before no fault divorce, women left. They were with the. Okay, think about it. When we're in an agrarian economy, and if we're a farming family, all right, the farm is in the family name. If you left, the kids are going to stay with me because they're going to be here. The people, if you can work the farm, or if you're going to go to school,
You're right.
women were taking the kids where? To what infrastructure? They
Right.
weren't going to get farms. They weren't building anything. The best, they would have a job.
Can
And
I?
a job means a man, and a job that it was going to employ a woman means somebody had to make a business, and likely that was a man. I think the larger question is, what does that do with the women? The women would just be by themselves. But that's a choice, though, right?
Yes, it
So,
is.
if you were a child, where would it be better to be a child, with a woman or a man? Especially if you look at how males and females move in this world. Here's something I want you guys to do. I want you guys to all go to Amazon Prime Video, and I want you to go look for a video called The Island. Bear Grylls, The Island, Grylls. And the whole concept is he takes 16 adults and drops them on an island, and they have to survive for 6 weeks. Season 2, they drop 16 men on one island, 16 women on another island. They had some basic tools, enough water for a couple of days, and they had to get after it. And the funny thing is, when it got right down to it, man's instincts got to work. As soon as they
Right.
got there, they talked for a minute. Next thing you know, they cut a path through and they trekked on to get from one beach to another to have someplace to sit. You know what happened to the women? They sat on the beach, chit chatted, and talked at the surfboard. Then they went into
Didn't they
the woods
contaminate the
about.
water?
Women went into the woods about 40 yards. Still can see the one, and then they split up. And they said, you guys go off and find water in the beach home, and they got separated and lost, and this group is circling around trying to find each other for days, and this group goes out and tries to find this group. By this time, the men had already built the goddamn internet, and the women in week 5 were still trying to lead by committee. Because men automatically, when shit happens, we segregate ourselves. You know what those men did? They didn't know each other. 16 of men did not know each other, but from the moment they got on the boat to the island, men decided, okay, what's your skill set? What's your skill set? What's your skill set? You're general construction, you're this, you're that. Okay. Who has you lead, we follow. Now, there were several guys in there who were more educated, but who they followed? The guy who had construction experience and planning. And the guy who kept saying, let's go, well, let's stay here. We need to cut through. But guess what? The men stayed on the path, following the leader. And right. Guess what? By the time the sun is setting, the men that everybody decided to follow, even though some guys were reluctant, got to where they needed to get to. Because that's inherently in us. The women, go watch what they did. You guys go this way, you guys go this way. I don't know. I don't like how you're talking to me. I think we should go this way. Sun's dipping.
Well, if I were to summarize what Kevin Samuels has just talked about in this chat with this particular woman, this woman seemed a little bit disturbed with Kevin Samuels' analogy or understanding that once a man or a woman separate, the kids are meant to remain with the man. And that's what Kevin Samuel was trying to say. That once you do separate, divorce, separate, the kids are supposed to remain with the man. And this modern woman comes into, in fact, this 39-year-old modern woman seems to be disturbed by having a thinking that if the man is in charge of putting up infrastructure, if the man is in charge of constructing houses, constructing roads, if the man is supposed to develop the world, if you then add on the children, won't that derail the other part of putting up infrastructure, buildings, what have you, working for the home? And Kevin Samuels, of course, hit back by saying that what men do creates jobs. What men do helps the world. In other words, that even when the man stays with the kids, he can hire a nanny. He can hire house helps to take care of the children. So indeed, what Kevin Samuel is trying to say is that in that same process where man and woman separate, once the man remains with the kids, he will always find a way to have these children brought up in the better way than a woman would have done that. And I think looking at the posture of the woman, she seemed answered. She seemed fairly okay with what Kevin Samuel had to say about it. Well, I don't know what you think about it, but let's go ahead to her next question.
I have one more question, Kevin. Okay, so is it okay to mention a verse from the Bible when Adam and Eve ate from the fig tree, and the Lord told Adam that he would have to work by the sweat of his brow, and Eve would have to long for him. So if he's out there working, where does that leave the woman?
What do you mean if he's out?
Like her role. Are you saying the point of the matter is that you're telling women that? Well,
what was her? Okay, are we talking about before the fall or after?
After.
Okay, after is our punishment. What was her original role?
To be her man's helpmeet.
Right. And Adam's original job was to do what?
To be the ruler of the world, right?
He was to administer the garden.
Okay.
And he had done that just fine.
Right.
God had only one rule: that tree over there, don't eat nothing over there. And the entire time Adam was there, he just got up and went to work, right?
Right. But he was lonely.
Huh?
He was lonely and longing for a soulmate.
Yeah, but he followed rules and he followed the structure.
Correct.
The one thing he was told not to do, he didn't do. And soon as lonely, longing Adam, who did not have a soulmate, not a mate, a mate, God said, you know what? You're right. So instead of making, he took the rib out of Adam, put him to sleep. And what's the first thing Eve decided to do? This is nice. I like this eating stuff, and all my job is to do is walk around with you and tell the lions and zebras what to do. And everything is chill. We got all the food and everything.
I know,
We're
right?
in paradise, right? And I got nothing to do except be your co-pilot.
Right.
And there's only one rule. The one rule is I get to keep all this and experience no birth, no pain in childbirth, no nothing. And the only rule is you can have anything over here you want to eat.
But respect that one thing.
But just don't go over there. What the first thing she did, like in your nature, went right on over
Trifling.
Well, but the point is, so you're asking what's a woman's role?
Right.
What's a woman's role? Well, in the fall, you're still our partner. You're still our helpmeet. And if you have to work and sweat and toil, you're going to be. If you have children, you're going to be there for the kids, but you can't be out here in the field because more often than not, women can't work to the levels men work to. Men tend to find a man doesn't need a woman if he doesn't have a job for her. She has a role.
Right.
So I don't understand why you keep asking what's a woman's role. I guess in the short, whatever her man needs.
Correct. I agree.
But to some people, their heads are probably exploding. The Bible and this and that. Some people actually believe that we're the only species on the planet that are not really supposed to be, that she's a sentient, autonomous being and what she does is her thing, what I do is my thing. Everybody else is grouped up and paired off, but we're just individuals, like Star Trek or some shit. No, ladies, that's not how it works. But appreciate it. Good
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
All
you.
right.
I think we can all agree that Kevin just had a better interaction and a better chat with this particular modern woman. The chat wasn't interrupted that much. The chat was fairly okay. Kevin didn't complain so much about the woman's attitude, her talking over Kevin. It was so little. And above all, looking at the body language of the modern woman, she seemed more of someone that respects and understands what Kevin Samuels wants and what Kevin Samuel expects from them. Overall, Kevin Samuel just mentioned key things that every person needs to learn or understand. That men are respected, first of all, or are supposed to be respected. Once a woman or man do separate, it will be advisable. It's not a must, but it is advisable to leave the children with the man unless otherwise. But if the man requests for the children, it's better to leave the children with the man, because the man will take care of the children in a better way, or the man is in a better position to take care of the children than the woman. In fact, Kevin Samuel supported this point with statistics and numbers when he came about to state a fact that on average in the US, men earn more than women, meaning most men earn more than the women. So if a woman takes the children with them, there are chances that the quality of life of the children will drop. While if the man stays with the children, there are chances that the quality of life of these children will not drop, because the man is earning a higher salary or higher wage, or the man's sources of income are more than the woman. Even mere fact that most houses, most homes are owned by the man, higher chances that if the woman and the man separate, the children will have a better home to stay in than the woman. Because if, let's say, a woman separates with the man, the woman may it start renting, may it go to a fairly poorer house than the house they have been staying in with the children plus the man. So Kevin Samuels came out and brought key points that we need to learn and consider before we rush, or before the women rush to take the children with them. You can as well help us understand your view by leaving a comment under this video. Guys, if you have just enjoyed this video, if you have just enjoyed what Kevin Samuel has been talking about, I always tell people at the end of my videos that you can still go ahead to Kevin Samuel's channel to watch these very videos on his channel. And by the way, you need to subscribe to his channel as well, because it's where we get these videos to react to. This particular video was picked from Instagram, and we are reacting to what Kevin Samuels was chatting to these modern women. Guys, have a nice time. See you on our next one. Can't wait.